Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation news fans. Mark Anderson has opened up about asking his children if he could date again. This is something he did not know how to approach or when the time was right. However, he has gone into more detail about the situation and let fans know what his kids had to say about him getting back into the dating world. There is a lot to unfold and uncover. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. His dating journey unfolds since his wife dies. Mark Anderson has had quite the journey when it comes to love. He was married to Denise Anderson. However, she sadly passed away in 2018 after battling breast cancer. This was hard for Mark and his family. However, years later, Mark decided he was ready to date again. After seeing his daughter, Kelsey Anderson, find love on The Bachelor with Graziadei, Mark thought it would be great for him to go on the Golden Bachelorette. On the show, he fought for Joan Vassos' heart. However, they did not work out. Mark is now dating Alyn Woods. She is famous for her role in One Tree Hill. Mark Anderson opens up about asking to date again. Mark Anderson has opened up about the time he asked his children if it was okay if he started to date again. This is something he did not know how to navigate. Having to ask them, that was before I ever went on the show, on the Golden Bachelorette. I asked them if it was okay for me to date, and then if it was okay to date on TV. Just a little larger detail there. They were very supportive in that. And it's been a while. It had been 5 years or 6 years actually. At the time, it was 6 years when I left for the show. It had been a while. They were supportive. We talked about it. I had not really approached that subject with them. Well, yeah, that's it. I wasn't really ready to talk to them about it. How do you approach that? I'm not trying to replace their mother. She could never be replaced. It's a tough thing to approach. While Mark was unsure how to approach this situation with his children, it ended up working out. He is in a happy relationship, and his children seem to be ecstatic for him. It seems as though Mark was nervous to ask his children if he could date again. He did not know how to bring it up. However, once he brought it up, he realized his children just wanted him to be happy. Mark's kids seem to like Barbara and her children. This is nice, so they can spend time together and it not be awkward. Fans love Mark and Barbara together and cannot wait to see more of them. What do you think about him being nervous about asking his kids? Do you like Mark and Barbara together? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. Anderson sat down for an exclusive interview with people. He didn't expect to cry. But as the cameras rolled and the lights dimmed just enough to feel intimate, he reached into a part of his heart the world hadn't seen in years, the place where his late wife still lived, and where the future of his family hung in the balance. I asked my children, he said, voice cracking. I asked them if it was okay for me to date again. The internet exploded. Mark Anderson, former college football player, widower, father of 3, and quiet heartthrob for single parents across America, had just peeled back the curtain on his most vulnerable moment to date. And it wasn't just about him. It was about grief, healing, second chances, and the surprising maturity of his children, who ultimately gave him the green light. But not without conditions. Chapter 1. Life After Loss. It's been 6 years since Emily passed. Mark's wife of 12 years, Emily Anderson, lost her battle with an aggressive form of breast cancer at just 37. The couple's 3 children, Mia, now 14, Henry, 11, and Lily, 9, were left without their mother, and Mark, then just 39, was thrust into a role he never imagined playing alone. He stepped away from his corporate job, relocated to be closer to Emily's parents, and turned his life upside down for the sake of stability. I didn't even think about dating, Mark admitted. My heart was buried with her. I focused on the kids, on being present. But something changed this past year. That something? His children. Chapter 2. A quiet conversation at the kitchen table. It started innocently. Mia had asked if she could go to the school dance. That led to a conversation about crushes and dating and eventually love. She asked me, "Dad, would you ever fall in love again?" Mark recalled. It stopped me cold. He didn't know how to answer, but it planted a seed. Over the following months, similar questions popped up from his younger kids. Henry asked why other dads at school had lady friends. Lily asked if they'd ever have a stepmom. I didn't know if they were hinting or just curious, he said, laughing gently. But I realized they weren't against the idea. They were open. I was the one holding back. Chapter 3. Therapy, journals, and a lot of tears. Before making any decisions, Mark went to therapy, something he hadn't done in years. He reopened Emily's old journals, looked at photos, reread their text messages. I wanted to make sure I wasn't betraying her memory, he explained. His therapist challenged him. What if dating wasn't betrayal? What if it was growth? Mark cried more in those sessions than he ever had before. I had to realize that love is not limited, he said. Loving someone new doesn't mean I love Emily less. Chapter 4. The family meeting that changed everything. One Sunday evening after dinner, Mark sat the kids down. I said, "I want to ask you something really important, and I want you to be honest." I told them I was thinking about dating again. What happened next shocked him. Mia burst into tears. Not sad tears, but emotional ones. She told me, "I just want you to be happy. You've done everything for us." Henry asked if he could help pick someone cool. Lily wanted to know if the woman would be nice, and if she liked pancakes. Mark was overwhelmed. They gave me their blessing, not because they wanted a new mom, but because they wanted me to feel love again. Chapter 5. The first date in 15 years. Mark joined a dating app 2 weeks later. With Mia's help, he created a profile, tasteful, charming, and honest. His bio read, widowed dad of 3. Loves bad dad jokes, great coffee, and anyone who can handle a family game night. Looking for something real. It didn't take long before he got matches, but he wasn't looking for just anyone. I needed someone who understood loss, who was patient, who got that my kids would always be first. Enter Claire. A divorced mother of 2, Claire had lost her brother to cancer and spent years volunteering at grief support groups. Their first coffee date lasted 5 hours. I didn't want it to end, he said. It wasn't even romantic at first. It was just real. Chapter 6. Introducing the idea to the kids. Mark took things slowly. He didn't mention Claire to the kids for a while. I needed to be sure it wasn't a fling. I needed to be serious, not just for me, but for them. After a month, he told them. I said, "There's someone I've been spending time with. Her name is Claire. I like her a lot." The kids had questions, so many questions. Lily wanted to know if Claire had a dog. Mia asked about her job. Henry asked if she liked Star Wars. After a few Zoom calls and casual meetings at the park, something clicked. They liked her, Mark said, almost surprised. They really liked her. Chapter 7. The guilt, the growth, the grace. Still, guilt lingered. Mark would lie awake some nights, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Emily, wondering what she'd think, questioning if he was doing the right thing. I even talked to Emily out loud sometimes, he confessed. "Are you okay with this? Would you be proud of me?" One night, Mia came into his room and said something he'll never forget. "Mom would want you to be loved. She would hate seeing you alone." It was the permission he didn't even know he needed. Chapter 8. Claire meets the whole family. Claire officially joined the family for a Sunday dinner, 3 months after that first date. Mark was nervous, so were the kids, but when Claire walked in with a tray of homemade brownies and a Baby Yoda apron, the tension melted. She wasn't trying too hard. She wasn't trying to replace anyone. She was just kind. The kids warmed up quickly. Henry challenged her to Mario Kart. Lily braided her hair. Mia stayed quiet, but later told Mark she didn't hate her. That was huge, he laughed. Chapter 9. From broken to blended? It's still early, Mark admits. He and Claire aren't rushing things. They're dating carefully and openly. The kids are involved in the process, not as decision makers, but as vital voices in the family story. They lost their mom, Mark said. I can't pretend that's not the biggest thing in their lives, but I also can't ignore that they deserve to see what love looks like again. As for Claire, she's understanding, patient, and not in a hurry. She knows the kids come first, and that's exactly why they like her. Chapter 10. What's next? Mark isn't proposing. Not yet, but he's hopeful. I've learned that there's no timeline for healing, but there is a timeline for hope, and mine started the moment I asked my kids if they were ready. The Anderson family is moving forward, slowly, with grace, with laughter, and with the memory of Emily firmly in their hearts. I'll always love her, Mark said, but now I'm learning to love again, and I'm doing it the way she would have wanted, with the kids by my side. Silosing, a message for anyone who's lost love. To those wondering if it's ever okay to love again, Mark has a message. You're not betraying the past. You're honoring it by living fully. If you're lucky enough to find love twice in a lifetime, don't run from it. Just ask the people who matter most if they're ready to see you happy again. For Mark Anderson, that meant 3 tiny voices saying, "Go for it, Dad." And that made all the difference.